Now at 9, it's the calm after the storm, but the White River has been impacted due to large amounts of rain. See what difference the storms have made here in our local area.
And the Midwest and Southeast are in the midst of some extreme weather. See what damage has been done.
And small town communities are still cleaning up from the tornado that hit Winchester and Selma 2 weeks ago. Tonight, we're up close and personal with the families that are still rebuilding.
And some homeowners can expect a much higher internet bill in the coming months. See what changes in federal funding have affected your internet access.
And we are tracking a windy, wintry whiplash. We do have quite a bit of water around here, but how long will that windy weather and wintry weather last? NewsLink Indiana starts right now.
Local news about local people, live from Ball State Unified Media. You're watching NewsLink Indiana.
Good evening and thanks for allowing us in tonight. I'm Alex Almanza.
And I'm Kamara Munn.
Now just breaking into our newsroom, a major earthquake with a magnitude of 7.4 struck after Taiwan's eastern coast today.
According to the U.S. Geological Survey, prompting tsunami warnings in southern Japan. The quake's epicenter is located about 18 kilometers, 11 miles south of the city of Hualien. The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued additional tsunami warnings. We'll keep you updated on the possible West Coast impact throughout the evening and online.
And back here at home, NewsLink Indiana's weather team has been keeping our community up to date on the potential severe weather Muncie was facing today. Although the worst of the weather did not hit our area, we still experienced a significant amount of rain. Now take a look at this. The White River appeared to be rising significantly around 7 p.m., but the water spread onto the sidewalks and trails with a heavy stream. Now, this was paired with gusty winds and patchy skies, but some roads, yards, and sidewalks also had additional overflow. Let's take a look at where else this severe weather went.
Yes, and a multi-day severe thunderstorm event intensified today, impacting areas from the southeast to the Ohio Valley. It's threatening to unleash powerful tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail as large as golf balls in some areas. And on Monday, the severe thunderstorms pummeled parts of Texas all the way to Illinois, bringing reports of 3 tornadoes in Oklahoma. And it pelted places with hailstones larger than baseballs. Evansville resident Keena Duff found herself trapped in the car when the severe weather blew in her windows.
Gravel in my head, there's glass in my head, whatever, and mud, there's still mud behind my ears, there's cotton in my car from somewhere, it's almost overstimulation of senses. Everything's so loud and powerful, like nothing I've ever experienced before.
And tonight, forecasters predict the greatest risk for intense, potentially long-track tornadoes extend from southeast Indiana across Ohio and over parts of Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
And thankfully, some of that severe weather that we were warning you about yesterday was thankfully a bust. And, we've kind of seen a little bit of a milder day today with a little bit of rainfall in the morning and a little bit of rainfall in the evening. But Ryan Hill takes a look at what some of that flooding looks like this afternoon.
Yeah, we had a lot of water around the area, 1 to 3 inches plus throughout the heart of our broadcasting area. As a matter of fact, that's why we have numerous flood warnings, river flood warnings throughout the area. Let's start with the Muncie area. The White River is under a flood warning until tomorrow evening, maybe into Friday. Late Friday morning is actually that one, but even the Mississinawa River is overflooding its banks on the northern side of Delaware County and well north of Winchester into Randolph County. The other stories are wind. That's sustained 15 to 20 miles an hour. We've got gusts to 40 and 45 miles an hour moving through the area. And over the next 12 hours, another headline. Look at how cool it gets. We haven't been used to that for a while, but look at those 30s moving their way into our morning. But we do have a little change after that we can talk about, but winter's return for the next few days and some warmer weather for the weekend. All that and more in my full forecast.
Thank you, Ryan. Towns in Randolph County are still cleaning up the wreckage left after an EF3 tornado swept through them on March 15th.
Yeah, that's right. Livia Sloniker is in Winchester with one family who's rebuilding and reminiscing on life after the tornado struck their farmhouse.
Overwhelmed, I think, is an understatement.
What used to be a home, now gone.
What used to be a gathering place, now destroyed. The tornado, which ripped through east central Indiana on March 15th, left folks to pick up the pieces. One of those folks is Gracie Lee, whose grandmother's farmhouse in Winchester was damaged in the storm.
As far as this property goes, the whole roof of the house kind of came off. There's a chunk of the garage missing. Windows were blown out, but most everything inside the house we were able to kind of save and get out the things that were kind of sentimental to our family. We lost 3 grain bins and a barn, and so that was really unfortunate.
Gracie and her family were in their home uptown when the storm hit. Her grandmother sat here alone. When they got the call that she needed out, it was all hands on deck.
I mean, immediately we jumped in the car, zero hesitation, running red lights, running over power lines just to get to her and make sure that she was okay. It was pretty much like a rescue mission. We had to bust out a window and help get my grandma out, and we're really thankful. The neighbors actually heard us yelling for her. We couldn't get up on the porch or anything, so we had to get her out of her bedroom window. And
the damage was extensive, and with so much destruction, it's difficult to compare what was saved to what was lost. But for the Lees, what was spared from the tornado meant the world.
My grandpa actually bought the property in 1973, so the barn had been here for many, many, many years. We're talking like very, very old historic barn. And then as far as the house goes, it was here in 73. He had done work to it, and there's brick on the outside of the house, and that didn't originally come with the house. My grandma didn't want my grandpa to put brick on the house because she thought it looked ugly, but after the tornado, state police came up and said, you know what? The only thing that saved this house was the brick on it.
Gracie lost her grandfather in 2022, but it's obvious that his presence has remained with the property, particularly in an old lawnmower.
And we always thought it was a freaking piece of junk, but he would always get really mad about it, and he'd be like, it'll outlive all of you guys. We come out here, and sure enough, look what's just fine, the freaking wheel horse.
The tornado that swept through the region hit Selma, Winchester, and Union City, just to name a few towns. In Winchester, the town has taken enormous steps to support those who face damage, from setting up donation centers to bringing out heavy equipment to make cleanup easier.
Luckily, we had lots of family members, friends, community members come with excavators, skid steers, and just start helping us clean up the wreckage.
And while there's still so much for Gracie and her family to take care of, it's safe to say that they are grateful for the help.
But just the willingness of these people to give up their time, their weekend, their family time to come in and help the community, it's so, so special. And it means a lot to me that we have people in our lives and in the community that are willing to just help out and support the people in Randolph County that have been affected by this.
In Winchester, Olivia Sloniker, NewsLink, Indiana.
And even 3 weeks after the tornado struck Winchester, the community support is still pouring out. Individuals and businesses are coming together in unimaginable ways to help victims of the storm.
And all trains operating across the country must now have at least 2 crew members on board. Now, that's according to an announcement today from U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg about a new rule aimed to enhance safety in the rail industry. Now, Buttigieg made the announcement in front of the Federal Railroad administrators, rail worker union leaders, and first responders.
Some of these trains running through communities are about 3 miles long. For perspective, if you put the Empire State Building on its side and then added 11 more Empire State Buildings, that's about how big some of these trains would be. And they want to operate that with 1 person. It defies common sense, and that changes today. So, on behalf of the Biden administration, our department is proud to issue this final rule requiring safe crew sizes for every train across America.
And the mandate comes after multiple train derailments across the country, including one in East Palestine, you might remember, from last year in Ohio. Now, the accident sent more than 1 million pounds of hazardous chemicals into the soil, water, and the air. Now, state and federal environmental officials say that testing shows the town's air and water are now safe, but some residents still complain of lingering health symptoms. All right, coming up after the break, homeowners beware. Internet prices are expected to soar. Learn what shift in the federal funding might have an effect on your bill.
And South Korean scientists are on the verge of breaking a new record. Learn their new unlimited energy discoveries.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Man, it's lonely. Like, going through life lonely.
There is the therapeutic aspect of music, just expressing how you feel. I'm going to talk to Howie about his feelings, make it into a song.
Welcome back. You'd better keep a close eye on your internet bills as next month, get this, 23 million low-income households could lose a subsidy that gives people up to $75 off their monthly bill. Now, that initiative is expected to run out of funding at the end of this month of April. But what does that mean for you? Well, if you're enrolled in the program, you'll still get the subsidy through April, but starting in May, internet companies will have the option to offer partial discounts using any remaining federal funding. But lawmakers have not passed an extension for now, but officials have also stopped accepting new applications and enrollments.
OpenAI has unveiled a new artificial intelligence that can mimic human voices. Called Voice Engine, the tech only needs a 15-second voice sample to replicate it nearly flawlessly. It can even use the voice to speak other languages. OpenAI says it can be used for translations or to help people who have lost the ability to speak. Of course, there are also countless other nefarious uses, and that's one reason the company has not released it to the public. OpenAI says societal changes like getting rid of voice-based authentication for bank accounts should be phased out first. Right now, only a few of the company's partners are using it.
Well, it's a milestone in the effort to create limitless clean energy. Scientists in South Korea reached a new world record during a nuclear fusion experiment using a research device called an artificial sun. Now, scientists were able to sustain temperatures of over 180 million degrees Fahrenheit for 48 seconds. To give you a little bit of perspective, that's 7 times hotter than the sun's core. But scientists say it's an important step forward for energy technology, and by 2026, they hope to be able to maintain the same temperature for 300 seconds.
And from defunct cell phones to busted TVs to washed up washing machines, a recent UN analysis found the amount of electronic waste generated globally is growing 5 times faster than it can be recycled. This can lead to a host of environmental health and climate concerns. Michael Yoshida digs into the issue and offers some helpful tips on how you can safely dispose of old phones, tablets, and other gadgets.
From e-cigarettes to broken appliances and old cell phones, global electronic waste, or e-waste, has reached record highs, some 68.3 million tons in 2022 alone, according to a recent United Nations report.
That's equivalent to the weight of over 100,000 of the world's largest passenger aircrafts. If you put them together, that's enough to form an unbroken queue from New York to Athens, 5,000 miles.
As the world becomes more reliant on electronics, the recycling of gadgets and appliances is not keeping pace, something experts are hoping will change with more awareness.
Better managing e-waste means better health. Health for the planet, but also health for ourselves, because a lot of the components in e-waste can be very toxic to humans.
Along with environmental and health reasons to recycle, there's a big money incentive too. E-waste often contains rare earth metals.
If we had been able to reuse and collect all what is in e-waste, we could have generated over $91 billion in value just in 2022.
So how can you safely recycle your e-waste or give it a second life? Experts say if the gadget is old but still working, see if a friend or a family member wants it. Another option, see if you can trade it in for a new device or credit. And if you do choose to get rid of your item, make sure it goes to a certified recycler. I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
The storms, they're out of here. But winter's windy whiplash. I'll tell you how long we're going to hold on to this kind of weather back here in my full forecast after the break.
As a dad, every day is a challenge. To make sure that the time that I have, I spend with them. It doesn't matter how tired you are, you have to try to teach them. When they learn something new and you can just see in their faces, it's such an incredible moment. It's those moments that are my favorite.
Oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this. Okay, Grandma. I see you.
Don't get stuck at home with the flu. A flu shot is the best way to prevent the flu and its potentially serious complications. It keeps you, your community, and loved ones protected. Don't get flu FOMO. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Can't believe you're doing this alone.
I've done it before.
I remember. You threw your back out. How you holding up?
Hand me that board.
Nothing wrong with getting help.
I'm good.
I did it when Felicia left.
I'll figure it out.
I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Calling all Ball State Cardinals and alumni, NewsLink Indiana Waking Up with Cardinal Weather have brought you award-winning journalism, actually some of the best in the country. We're calling on you to support our program as well as other student media with this year's One Ball State Day. Tomorrow, April 3rd, you can tune into the NewsLink Indiana Facebook page for a 4-hour special team coverage full of voices from past and present members. You can catch some of our award-winning stories, and of course, you can learn how to support Delaware County's only live news broadcast for over 20 years.
Well, good morning, good evening, everyone. Look at this. Good morning, because it's a big wake-up call. Winter seems to be knocking on the door again. It seems to be forgetting its wallet or something. Look at this. I'm going to play a game called Spot the Front. I dare you. It's really hard. Look at this. Look at this blue right here representing 40s already knocking on our area's doorstep at this point. And that's all from that cold front that just passed through. It tried to deliver some severe weather for our area. We had all of this Gulf moisture trying to rush up out of the Gulf. And I got to tell you, we tried to destabilize, but we didn't really have enough energy. But just enough to get some of that hail and heavy rain out of those cells before they were out of here. Still plenty of rain has happened, and that's why those flash flood warnings and flood warnings have been issued throughout Indiana. Got to watch those roads, turn around, don't drown. But here's the other thing tonight, wind. It's overspreading our area, sustained at 20 miles an hour, but I could see gusts up to 30 or 40, maybe 45 miles per hour throughout the next few hours. And that's along with some snow showers. What? You got all this blue right here representing some even heavier stuff. That's going to continue throughout tomorrow, lunchtime, and again, it might even have some wintry weather during when we would have our newscast tomorrow, so that's interesting. Some of this might be a little lighter than what the model is depicting, but we have a strong low pressure system, so get ready for some heavier snow conditions. Not necessarily going to stick, although I wouldn't be surprised. Some areas get a light coating on the grassy surfaces. Before this all clears out, that's turning to rain because we got some warmer air moving into the area. So, recapping, look at that 38 right there. Wow, that wake-up call already coming in with those 40-mile-per-hour gusts making it feel like the 20s. Watching tomorrow and through Thursday. Not too much help there. Still a lot of northwest flow, and that low pressure system is still just slowly moving its way out of the area. But we get some clearing, and look at those lower 30s and upper 20s. Upper 20s nearly everywhere in the northern half of Indiana. So frost and freeze concerns are definitely there for your plants. Bring those on inside before we make those 50s return and get to be more seasonable. But that raw 7-day forecast is showing we're going up from there. Look at those 40s by the time we end our week. But yet, as we get to the eclipse time, we're watching those clouds very carefully for the possibility that they may drop some rain. It might be more isolated to scattered, but we could see the sun break through. I mean, we're working on a ridge of high pressure. But otherwise, look at that 67 that you just saw.
Yeah.
I bet you've probably been packing like all sorts of kind of clothes to prepare for this front right today, right?
Yeah, and a lot of, we're talking like raincoats and umbrellas. It's one of those things where you got to prepare.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
I got my coat in my car. Better be ready with that.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan. There's lots more to get to on NewsLink Indiana. Xander Woods has a preview of sports.
Two Ball State programs look to make a home stand, and some Cardinal athletes have been working a little harder over the past month. All this and more next in sports.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, mijo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Xander Woods with sports. Ball State baseball and softball set to be in action at home today as baseball faces off with their Bellarmine Knights and softball hosts Western Michigan. Baseball takes a 2-0 lead in the second inning and doesn't look back as they win in easy fashion, just 6 innings in a 7-2 final over Bellarmine. With the win, the Cardinals improved to 18-12 on the season and look ahead for a 3-game stint at MACFO Miami starting Friday. Softball was scheduled to take on Western Michigan at home today for a doubleheader. Both games have been canceled due to weather and will not be rescheduled. As spring football leaps into action, athletes take this time to get back into peak shape and condition, but for some, there's a different challenge. NewsLink Indiana's Max Robson heads over to Schumann Indoor Practice Facility to see how this may impact some athletes in practice.
In the 9th and holiest month of the Islamic calendar, over 1.8 billion Muslims join together to observe Ramadan through fasting and prayer. And one Ball State athlete takes this time very seriously.
I feel like Ramadan it's a great time to work on self-discipline and get closer with God, just continue to grow a relationship with God.
This holy month requires 30 days of fasting, which means no food and no water from sunrise to sunset. And Malcolm Gilley takes on that challenge in a similar manner to how he approaches the football field.
I feel like if you be able to tell yourself that you can go today without eating or drinking, you can tell yourself to go today without doing anything, wrong or things of that nature.
But fasting and performing at a high level don't work hand in hand. Thankfully, Gilley and other Ramadan-observing athletes have a helping hand in Dan Wanger and his strength and conditioning staff.
This is something that's important to him, it's important to Yasser, and so it's important to us to make sure that we're supportive of that and putting them in the best position possible to be successful during this time where they are fasting during Ramadan.
And preparing Gilley and the other athletes for Ramadan started well before the holy month.
Before Ramadan even started, they gave me a protein powder shake thing for me to be, stay on top of that, make sure I have all the fluids and energy drinks and things like that I need.
And as the holy month continues, practices get harder and harder. So safety and communication between athletes and staff becomes a top priority.
Our number one job is to do no harm, so we want to make sure that they're safe in what they do in the weight room, what they do on the field.
They ask me every day how I feel. They just communicating how I feel throughout practice, and they just keep me motivated, just knowing that I got extra people helping me, making sure I'm on track.
Gilley and his fellow Muslim athletes will continue to fight in practice and honor their faith even after Ramadan comes to an end on Eid al-Fitr. In Muncie, Max Robson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Alhamdulillah. I'm tired, bro.
Gilley will play in the annual spring football game on April 6th before Ramadan ends a week from today. And another week of March Madness tournament has come and gone, and there's been a few changes in the NewsLink Indiana March Madness Bracket Challenge standings. Here's an update on the standings after the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. At the top, Gavin Smith is in first place with 80 points. Lance Huffman is in second place with 75, and Grace Benetowski is in third with 73 points. And at the bottom in third to last place is Jake Dickman with 35 points, followed by Jay Lessick with 26 points. And then last is Assistant Director of Sports, Max Robson.
Hey, and a pretty busy week, busy month for March. I mean,
Oh,
we're talking
for
a
sure.
lot of sports,
For sure.
March Madness
Right.
and everything going on. So again, Xander, thank you so much.
Yeah, you too.
Well, coming up, we've got a final look at your weather. We'll be right back.
Attacks against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders are on the rise.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer. In terms of the hate crimes, I think there is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got quite the week ahead, Ryan.
Of course, indeed. You start with that wintry weather condition that you're going to deal with that system trying to get its way out of here. Could get some sticky snow on some elevated surfaces, but that's low probability. Then you get into some frost, especially Friday night into Saturday morning before we get that warm up. Watch that eclipse weather closely. We're warming up then, but we've got a warm front with some precipitation before we get to that 67. So again, with the whiplash between the seasons, yeah?
Looking forward to the warmer weather coming up in the week.
Oh, me too.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, and hoping for a nice eclipse viewing season. All right, that's all tonight for NewsLink Indiana. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 9, streaming live on the NewsLink Indiana Facebook page.
And for news anytime, anywhere, just go to ballstatedaily.com. Have a great night and stay safe.